Wisdom. One.
Mesh my eye, don't get distracted. Satan is still active. It's time for faith action. Evil is using division as an attraction. Stay away from racial factions. The truth is the truth, no matter who's trying to use subtraction.
Grace and completeness meshed by our family. Shalom, shalom. It's me, your sis, NuriYAH One, also known as NuriYAH, and welcome to the Wisdom One podcast, y'all. Try to add something a little different this time. Okay, meshed by our family. Subject for today, conversation for today is, it's springtime. With new blessings come some hard battles. All right. So first, we're going to give all esteem to Yahuah and his one and only brought forth son, Yahushua, our Mashiach. Ruach Kadash be lifted and esteemed. Alam, meaning always. So let's get into this. Springtime in Abri is the new year. And the new year is scripturally where we have the understanding that it's wartime, according to our ancestors and scriptures and what happened. So let's lay the foundation with the word of life, the living word of truth, the scriptures. In 2 Samuel chapter 11, verse 1, it says, "And it came to be at the turn of the year, at that time sovereigns go out, that Duwad, also known as David, sent Joab and his servants with him and all of Yasharal, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah, but Duwad remained at Jerusalem." Mashpa'ah family, according to this scripture, the new year, which is springtime, is wartime. We know that springtime is new year, and our word for spring is Bayab. Bayab. Okay. According to the scriptures in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 1, our Pesach is the 14th day of that month. And also in the book of Exodus chapter 12, it tells us upon the new year and the first month of the new year. Okay. So those are conversations for other days too. So wonderful, our high holy days and things like that. And it only makes sense that the new year would be what? In spring, right? Because everything is new, right? We've gone through, the winter, things have died off, and it's just the process of life, giving life to brand new things. The springtime, new time. Okay. So a little bit, again, the word Bayab in our Abri language scripturally is the word for spring, and it means green grain. The new green ears of growing grain as the parent seeds attached to the stalk of the next generation of crops, right? Beautiful. Family, we must be aware of the seasons that we are in. The sovereigns went to war scripturally in spring. Now, there was a reason for that. There's a reason for that, Mashpa'ah family. I truly believe, right? Just from personal experiences, I truly believe that we do the same today. But it's spiritual warfare, right? We go to spirit war during this time. It's heightened in the springtime. Now, let me be clear. Every moment we breathe and we have an enemy, we're going to go through some spiritual affliction. We're going to have some warfare. But I do believe that springtime is a time of new beginnings. It's our new year. This is a time of receiving our new directions, our new instructions of Barak labor and assignment spiritually, right? And the enemy knows this. That's why he comes to attack and distract us at this point in time. And if we think about it, the enemy uses the same tactics, and we know that this is a spiritual war. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right? But against principalities and powers in high places, right? We know what the scripture says. Excuse me if I paraphrased it. Okay. But the enemy does do what? Employ people. And so when you're experiencing intense warfare, usually these folks come around, and you know who I'm talking about. You love them, but at a distance. Okay. Or you love them and you pray for them because the scripture says to pray for your enemies, but they coming around. And they're coming around with problems. They're coming around with issues. They're coming around with things that they shouldn't. That's when you're under intense spiritual warfare and intense battles. You're not speaking well in your home. All of a sudden, you and your spouse is in irritation or some type of distance. It doesn't make sense. The Yaladim, the children are acting off. Something's going on at the office or maybe just in the home. You know when it's intense, strategized warfare against you. Beloved, I would like to suggest something to you. Start recording these times. And when I say record these times, I mean write them down. Write the time, the date, the month, all the details. Describe what you're going through in these intense times of spiritual warfare, and pray and pray. You will start to see a pattern. You'll start to see a pattern in these battles and when they show up. Now, the weeks leading up to Pesach, which is Passover, are some of the most challenging weeks. And of course, the 7 days after, which is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? Leaven in scriptures always represents sin. When you spend that week cleansing out your spiritual body, as well as your physical body, getting rid of the sin in your life and spirit, it's going to be challenging. Like you haven't had cake for the whole year, and all of a sudden during the Feast of you have this craving for carbs, right? Because even we do focus on the physical because Yahuah created us and he knows how he created it. He knows why and how he created our bodies to do certain things and how he wanted things to happen for us. So we know that we have to take care of our physical body. Don't get me wrong. However, the spiritual aspect of this time is imperative. Paying attention. This is when social media fasts. This is imperative to our spiritual life. Okay. And again, it's not to say we don't experience spiritual warfare throughout the year. Of course we do. However, during those times and also during the year, make sure you record those times of intense battles. The times, the dates, what's going on. Because sometimes the enemy visits childhood traumas and you're not realizing that something happened to you in your youth around a certain season. And for whatever reason, you feel melancholy, you're blue, you're saddened, and you don't know why. Look at the date, look at the time, pray. Let the Ruah bring it back to you. Just being aware of seasonal war tactics increases our ability to prepare in these spiritual battles that we have. We always have to be spirit war ready, right? With our sword of truth, our word and prayer, right? But there's something about being obedient and ready in those times. And if we can reflect just a moment on the sovereign Duad and that scripture in the book of Samuel, and 2 Samuel, actually, 11:1. Remember, he sent his right-hand man, Yahuah, out, and all of Yashar. But what did Sovereign Duad do? He stayed behind. And that's when a lot of things occurred. That's when he seen Bath Sheba, also known as Bathsheba. And we already know what happened after that. That had major implications and complications that happened throughout his life, and generation after generation after generation. Talk about generational curses. The season of spring has so many barakah in it. That's why it makes sense that the enemy would just strategize, onslaught, intense warfare against us at this point in time. Again, this is the season of renewing our walk with Yahuah through his only brought forth son. With the blessings that we get of new ideas, new inspiration, new ambitions, new assignments. It's a time of spring spiritual cleaning. Remember the Feast of Unleavened Bread also, which happens to be in the spring. We remove the leaven out of our lives. Remember, leaven is not just food. Leaven always represents sin. And that's backed in the scriptures according to Matthew, also known as Matthew chapter 6, verse 6 through 12, and Galatians 5 and 9. Now, please go read that on your own when you have the opportunity and or chance. I want to encourage you, prayer warriors, anointed ones, and the beloved of Yahuah and his only brought forth son. You will not only get through all seasons of warfare this upcoming year and this year, but also you will exceed in conquering all enemies of your journey in Yahushua's name. I touch and agree with you on that. Be mindful of the seasons, family. The enemy is coming in moments of our brand new barakah to kill, steal, and destroy. I want you to remember something right now. See, there's something that happens in the spiritual realm. And I can only tell you this is because something that the Ruach Kadash revealed to me. And I want to share it to you, share it with you, family. Excuse me. See, when you request something, it has to come into fruition into the physical realm. Now, the barakah that you asked Yahuah for, and his son's character. That's what Sham means, the character. And we'll be able to talk about Sham one day. In the character, in his son's character, it shall be given unto you. But there's a sovereignty of Yahuah Aluah, and the enemy knows this. He can never touch what Yahuah has appointed for us and is going to give to us. However, he will get us to destroy it with our own hands and our lips. And let me explain. In the spiritual realm, our enemy sees our barakah being prepared to come down into fruition into the physical realm. And you will be tried with that barakah that you're needing to receive. The enemy will test you and try you to get you to do something to kill it, to destroy it, so that you will never receive it. It will never come into the physical realm. Remember that. We have to be aware of the times that we're in. We belong to Aluah, Yahuah, and his only son. We need to be encouraged always. So before we leave today, it's so manifest to read Tehillah, also known as Psalm 121, family, for encouragement. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my azar help come from? My help comes from Yahuah, maker of the Shamayim and earth. He does not allow your foot to be moved. He who watches over you does not slumber. See, he who is guarding Yashar'al neither slumbers nor sleeps. Yahuah is your guard. Yahuah is your shade at your right hand. The sun does not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. Yahuah guards you from all evil. He guards your being. Yahuah guards your going out and your coming in, now and forever. So, Mashpa'ah family, we're going to end there. And in the background, you may have heard my Barak and blessed son, and his name is Azar, and he's unique and special. He has unique and special needs, and we're so grateful for him. And I guess he wanted to put his 2 cents in this evening. However, I want to leave you with this. You are loved with an ever-enduring love of Yahuah and his son. And we are always to walk in a had unity, in a hub love. Shalom, family.
From scriptural introspect, Crips and Bloods and politics will never soul check their soul of souls.